Fine. Okay, we're recording now.
We're good. We are. Good morning, Emily. I just want to let everybody know that I'm with Emilie Joy, who is one of my clients, and I'm interviewing her about coaching and how coaching has helped her. So good morning, Emilie.
Morning.
Emilie is a yoga teacher and a massage therapist. And my first question to you, Emilie, is what first sparked your interest in making some changes?
So, I guess I'd gone away and done a bit of travelling and tried to work out what it was that I actually wanted to do. And then I came back to Norfolk and sort of fell into teaching yoga and massage in a way. And it wasn't really planned. It just sort of happened, which was a really lovely thing. But I think with that, it felt, I don't know, it felt like I wanted someone who I could be accountable to in terms of moving in the direction that I wanted to. And I think sometimes I felt at the time that I was spinning plates and really juggling because I'd kind of fallen into this situation and was like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing now. And it was really amazing. So I think that in itself just made me think, oh, wow, coaching, because then I could be a bit more defined about what it was that I wanted to do and how I was going to kind of keep sort of like narrowing down the things that because I'd gone on a journey of being like, I was doing this in London and I didn't like it, and then I wanted to kind of do something that I really enjoyed doing, and I wanted to keep that kind of flow of moving forwards to the things that I enjoyed and the things that inspired me. And I suppose coaching with Charlie was a way to kind of bring all of that together, create accountability for me, and get really clear about what I wanted to do. I think it's hard sometimes when you start something and you're like a rabbit in headlights a little bit, spinning plates, or certainly I was. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I thought.
What would you say you've had as your biggest insight since you started coaching? Because I think you've done amazing work, and I'd be really keen for everyone to know like what insights you've had yourself.
I guess personally, in a kind of, I feel like there's been a lot of insights about some of the beliefs that I've carried and some of the things that have really actually held me back.
To like expand on that, do you feel able to?
Yeah, so I think one has always been money. I think I had this bizarre belief partially from my father and like that side of the family, where I always kind of saw them as quite materialistic and quite sort of, I always saw that they put their happiness on external factors, and that didn't resonate with me. I always thought that it was a bit sad, and I think I then associated, because of that if you had money, you were someone who was a consumerist, who was really materialistic, who's probably a bit shallow, as opposed to realizing that if you create abundance in your life, then it means that you can do more of the things that you like. And for me, that is teaching yoga and creating events and bringing a community together, and building an ethos around body positivity and acceptance and all those sorts of things. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to create abundance around that. And I had a real skewed thing of this kind of old belief. And so that was an interesting one. I think also just self-doubt and realizing about sometimes it's so easy to put things in the way, put obstacles in the way, as opposed to moving through it. And just rising up to the challenge. And
so in that sense, that's quite an interesting point, and I think a lot of women will have both the money mindset piece, but also the sort of self-doubt. So what have you discovered about yourself that's helped you to move forwards beyond self-doubt?
I think a lot of my self-doubt comes from this belief of like, oh well, you're a very curvaceous woman with a large bottom. How on earth can you be teaching yoga? And how on earth are people going to like look at you and think like, oh, I want to do your yoga classes? But I think that, I suppose, the kind of insight that I've had around that is that I think all women have their troubles, have their insecurities about certain things, and actually, I guess if we can learn to accept those bits for ourselves, and just and I think and I think you're always going to resonate with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know.
Well, it sounds like what you're saying, it sounds like, if I'm hearing you correctly, that you may have had some belief around body image and teaching yoga and what that meant for you.
Yeah.
And actually, the insight you've had is we are all diverse, we all have different body shapes, and they're all to be celebrated. And who are you not to teach and shine?
Yeah.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the thing is like if you have something that you're passionate about, which you really enjoy, which you're happy to share with the world, it's just such a shame to not do that because of something so ridiculous like, oh well, a yoga teacher has to be ye big and be this tall and da, 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 da. You know, it's so ridiculous. It's not the truth. We can all, there's a place for all of us.
Absolutely.
We all will resonate with different people, I guess, you know. So yeah, that was a big insight. And I think it's still something that I still work with it though, you know. I still have those days where I'm like, ooh. But it's, I suppose, having the awareness around it. And then I think one of the biggest insights actually was that we discussed was about thought is just thought. And sometimes we can have funny thoughts, and sometimes they can come from old beliefs or, you know, past situations in our life which make us kind of overlay into the new situation. But a lot of the time, it's not actually true, and it is just a thought, and it will go away, and then you can get back to like, okay, now we're going to do the things that I really want to do because that was just a funny thought, you know.
I agree, and I think when we get caught up in that negative thought space, that's what can hold us back. If you attach to those thoughts and make them mean something about you, which is usually I'm not good enough to do. So yeah. That's an amazing insight, Emilie. Yay.
It's a good one, isn't it?
It is a good one. So I think you've sort of answered this, but I wondered if there was any other obstacles that you've already overcome, aside from, like, you mentioned money mindset, you've mentioned your own perception of body image. Is there anything else that you feel like you've overcome?
I'm sure there is lots. I think there's probably much more subtle things which have happened since we've been working together, which perhaps aren't so sort of, I'm not sure. I don't know.
More visible out there, like you've taken risks, haven't you, with your website getting
oh yeah, so in terms of like actual sort of putting aside kind of beliefs and like the actual stuff that you kind of put in the way to actually do the stuff that you need to do, the stuff that we have done together, which has been huge actually. So before I started working with Charlie, I I had a really chaotic booking system. I had a really I lived in chaos, didn't I? It was like, how do people contact you? And I was like, oh, well, they contact me on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook. They contact me over email. They contact me over text message, by WhatsApp. And so I was in this utter chaos of like people contacting me from all these different areas and then having to get back to them, which was just a nightmare. And so we worked on creating this website which would basically filter everything down into one place, which would get rid of all this kind of plate spinning, which I sort of mentioned about, and make it much more clarity around like, this person contacts me here and they don't contact me there. And so we built the website. Well, I built the website, which was amazing, and it's working really well now. And then on top of that, Charlie gave me so much insight around the booking system and what to do there. And that was a huge thing, actually. It took quite a lot of time because of the mindset that I had around money and my own self-worth. So, and putting a value on how much to charge for a class, how much to charge for a massage, and all those sorts of things. Yeah. So that one took a bit more time. But yeah, the booking system is up and running. It's working effectively. It gives me back a huge amount of time. Yeah. And it just makes, I think as well, in terms of like where I'm going to, or where I'd like to go to, it's built a foundation to work from, which is really amazing.
It is. It's been an absolute joy to. I love your name, Emilie Joy, because it has you are an absolute joy, and I mean that. Like, you are a wonderful woman. My last question.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your inner resources that you didn't realise you had until you started this coaching?
Say that again.
What are some of the inner resources that you already had that you didn't realise you had before you started your coaching journey?
Ooh. My inner resources. I think what's kind of flagging up for me when I say this, because I remember when we first started speaking, and I felt really lonely, and I felt kind of isolated at some points. And I think some of those things which I deemed, okay, so I would consider myself quite an independent person, and I think, for most people who work in running their own business, you do end up sort of doing a lot of stuff yourself. Obviously, you have classes and things like that, but you can sometimes be quite alone. And I was really lonely, and it used to really get me down. And I remember we talked a lot about like the funny thoughts and like how it was, it wasn't the truth. But I have maybe not hundreds, but I have a lot of amazing friends, family around me. But at the time, I was in that thought process, and I think some of my strengths about that I had seen in a negative way, whereas I think now I see them more positively. The fact that I am really independent and that I can do things on my own, and I am able to just like set my mind to something and do it without sort of procrastinating too much. I think, and that was a thing from the past, which I definitely would have an idea, but it would take me so long to do anything about it, mainly because of all of the blocks along the way, whereas now it's just kind of like, just do it, see what happens. And I think some of those resources have been crucial, actually, to getting where I want to be and doing what I'm doing now. So,
Yeah, I think I would say, resilience, courage, intuition, all of those things that were already there. They've come out as you've grown in confidence and self-belief, and it's been lovely to watch and work with you. So,
oh, thank you. I can't imagine not working with you now. It'd be strange. It's like our little chats. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time out for this interview. It means a lot to me, and thank you. And I'm sure, and I hope it will help others as well. So thank you, Emily, and I will speak to
you
soon.
All right then. Bye.